So it's been about a year and a half since Ellen dropped what she called her final stand-up special, For Your Approval. That special was clearly meant to be her big response to critics, skeptics, and everyone calling her out after serious claims about how she acted behind the scenes in the entertainment world. Reports painted a rough picture, saying Ellen often treated staff and people around her, especially those who weren't celebrities, with very little respect, like they barely mattered.
Ellen DeGeneres finds herself at the center of a storm of controversy.
Being accused of going too far, too gay.
Then in that last comedy special, she flipped the script and leaned into a victim angle, delivering jokes that tried to turn the whole controversy into comedy. The situation had people talking everywhere. Ellen seriously tried to spin the whole situation like she was pushed out just for being too gay, and a lot of people raised an eyebrow at that explanation. Many critics pointed out that the real issue people were talking about had nothing to do with that. For years, she built a massive brand and made hundreds of millions around this super friendly image that she carefully promoted on TV. Her entire identity on screen was about kindness. In fact, her famous catchphrase was literally, "Be kind to one another." She said it at the end of almost every episode, day after day, for years. But when stories started coming out, dozens of people shared experiences that painted a totally different picture of how things felt behind the scenes, and even during public encounters. Suddenly, the contrast between the nice image and those stories had everyone talking. Once that wave of criticism hit, the momentum around her shows started fading fast. Ratings for her daytime program dropped hard, and around that same period in 2022, her game show, Ellen's Game of Games, also came to an end.
Keeping score, this is the second time I've been kicked out of show business. Can't be gay and be in show business. Mean, old, and gay, the triple crown. I have OCD and ADD. I'm honest, I'm generous, I'm sensitive and thoughtful, but I'm tough, and I'm impatient, and I'm demanding, I'm direct. I'm a strong woman.
The vibe around her brand changed almost overnight, and the once untouchable daytime star suddenly found herself on the outside looking in. Yeah, the whole situation felt pretty shocking at the time. Back in the mid-2000s and even into the 20-teens, Ellen was widely seen as one of the least controversial people in entertainment. She was collecting humanitarian awards, stacking huge money deals, and building this image as the fun, upbeat grandma of daytime TV. You'd see her dancing through the audience, joking with fans, playing games with kids, and hanging out in stores like Target. It all helped sell that super friendly vibe.
When Combs didn't get his way, he was violent. And he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs.
But then the stories started rolling in, one after another. Former staff, insiders, and people who crossed paths with her began sharing experiences that didn't match that cheerful public image at all. Slowly, the curtain started lifting, and the brand she'd built for decades suddenly looked very different. And at the same time, people were already questioning the entertainment world in general. More and more conversations were popping up about how powerful figures operate behind the scenes, and the spotlight on major celebrities felt brighter than ever. We'll circle back to that bigger picture in a minute when it comes to Ellen, but what really stood out was how her final stand-up special tried to frame the whole situation like she was being unfairly pushed out of Hollywood.
Toxic, phony, hypocrite, liar. That's what she is. This environment, this toxic culture that she created in the office has been going on for 16 years.
She leaned hard into the idea that critics were targeting her personally, and that angle had a lot of people raising their eyebrows. Overall, the special landed with a thud. A lot of viewers felt it was awkward, messy, and nowhere near the big comeback Ellen probably expected. Instead of winning people back, many critics said she came off entitled, arrogant, and seriously out of touch with how the public was feeling. And the biggest issue people pointed out, she didn't really sound sorry about anything. Because of that, both longtime fans and critics walked away disappointed, wondering what exactly the point of the whole special even was.
So tell me about your birthday party. Am I invited?
Yes.
Why don't you have one here on the West Coast? Because I work all the time.
Okay, well, maybe I have one at your house.
Where's that?
And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
And then it will carry on there.
Yeah. Did it? No, I mean the after party.
No, I know about them.
Then the timing made things even more uncomfortable. For years, Ellen had a very public friendship with music mogul Diddy. They appeared together often, joked on her show, and seemed extremely close in Hollywood circles. But right around the same period her special dropped, Diddy started facing intense public scrutiny over serious allegations tied to his personal and professional life. Suddenly, the spotlight around him got a whole lot brighter. That overlap had people online talking non-stop. Some viewers started connecting dots and questioning how many major celebrities had been in the same circles for years.
People in America and Republicans who would quite like to undo the right for gay people to get married. I mean, that's back on the table as a debate, I think,
absolutely.
isn't it?
The Baptist Church in America is trying to reverse gay marriage. They're trying to, at the very least, stop it from happening in the future and possibly reverse it. And Portia and I are already looking into it, and if they do that, we're going to get married here.
When someone that powerful falls under investigation, the public naturally begins wondering who knew what and when. Now, to be clear, being friends with someone doesn't mean you're responsible for their actions, but critics still pointed out that Ellen had welcomed him on her show many times over the years and spoke very highly of him. In fact, she once even called him one of her favorite guests. Because of that history, when questions started popping up online about their connection, people were curious if she would address it. But when reporters and commentators brought it up as the situation around Diddy grew more serious, Ellen stayed completely silent on the topic. That silence only added more chatter online, with people debating whether Hollywood friendships sometimes run deeper than what the public sees on camera. And the timing raised even more eyebrows. Right when the pressure around Diddy started getting intense, Ellen suddenly made a huge life move and left the United States altogether. This happened around the same period when federal investigators were carrying out major searches connected to Diddy's properties, and serious allegations about his behavior were becoming headline news everywhere. As more reports surfaced about accusations of abuse tied to Sean Combs, the situation kept escalating, and the public attention only grew louder. Then in November 2024, Ellen and her wife made a big change and relocated to southwest England. That move instantly had people online speculating about the timing. Some observers believed she was simply putting distance between herself and the growing controversy surrounding someone she had been publicly friendly with for years.
2018, Dana DiMatteo flew from Chicago to Los Angeles and was delighted to be picked out of the audience to have some fun with Ellen. But then she says she was shocked when she was briefed on the comedy bit by the producers.
They tell you, you can't be smarter or funnier than Ellen. She's the comedian and the star, not you.
She emailed the owner of the restaurant and complained about your chip nail polish.
What?
And I was like, what?
Ellen, however, gave a completely different explanation. She said the move had more to do with politics, explaining that she didn't want to continue living in the U.S. with Donald Trump returning to office. Still, the timing had people talking nonstop. After relocating, Ellen didn't exactly keep things low-key either. Reports said she and her wife bought a massive $20 million countryside property in England, and just a few months later, they reportedly grabbed another place worth around $30 million. That's not exactly a quiet getaway. That's a full luxury relocation. She even talked about the move during a private event at a theater in England. At one point, she explained the timing like this. We got here to England the day before the election, and we woke up to lots of texts from our friends and crying emojis. We were like, we're staying here. We're not going back. We are not leaving. So we bought a house that we thought was going to be a part-time house. Then we decided we needed a different house, and now we're selling that house.
Hello, sheep. You're not supposed to be in here.
Sheep will be fun.
Good job, baby.
You can do it, baby.
We're going in a circle. Much admiration for rowers.
But here's where things got strange. After only about a year of living overseas, reports started saying the couple had already moved back to the United States. That sudden shift had people online scratching their heads. To some critics, the whole situation felt a little theatrical. The timing lined up with all the drama happening around powerful figures in entertainment, and people were already questioning a lot of celebrity friendships and connections.
During that same theater appearance, Ellen had also explained that politics played a major role in the decision to leave. She claimed she was worried about the direction of the country and said she feared protections for same-sex marriage and the broader LGBTQ community could eventually come under pressure again if federal laws change. What also made people laugh a little was how strongly she praised life in England at first. Ellen talked about how everything there supposedly felt better. She said the people were kinder, the lifestyle was simpler, and the overall vibe was just more peaceful. It sounded like she had completely turned her back on the United States. But then, only about a year later, after spending tens of millions of dollars on luxury properties and making a very loud political statement about leaving, reports started saying she was already heading back to America. That quick turnaround had critics raising their eyebrows.
Did you feel like you were being canceled?
I mean, I really didn't understand it. I still don't understand it. It was too orchestrated. It was too coordinated. And, you know, people get picked on, but for 4 months straight for me, and then for me to read in the press about a toxic work environment when all I've ever heard from every guest that comes on the show is what a happy atmosphere this is and what a happy place it is.
Because of that, some people started calling her activism performative. From their point of view, it's easy to take dramatic political stands when you also have the kind of money that lets you relocate across the world without blinking. Most people dealing with real-life problems don't have the option to drop tens of millions on overseas homes whenever things get uncomfortable. Then there was the real estate angle that caught attention. Reports claim she only lived in one of the properties for about a month while overseeing a massive renovation project involving dozens of workers. The work reportedly moved at lightning speed, finishing in just a few weeks before the house was listed again for a price far higher than what she originally paid. All of that led some observers to wonder if the countryside lifestyle story was more of a temporary image than a long-term plan. Here's where the real estate angle starts getting interesting. Because Ellen technically lived in the property, even if it was only for about a month, it reportedly allowed the home to be classified as a primary residence. That kind of classification can significantly reduce capital gains taxes when a property is sold. In this situation, estimates suggested the potential tax savings could reach roughly 24%, which could mean over $2.4 million depending on the final sale price.
So, Montecito is under complete evacuation, the entire town. This is crazy. This creek next to our house never flows, ever. Probably about 9 feet up, and it's going to go another 2 feet up. We have horses ready to evacuate. We need to be nicer to Mother Nature, because Mother Nature is not happy with us.
When you start looking at Ellen's long history with property deals, the situation makes a little more sense. Over the past 2 decades, she and her wife have reportedly bought and sold dozens of luxury homes, with some estimates saying more than 50 different properties. At one point alone, they were connected to over 20 homes in Southern California, so flipping real estate is clearly something they know very well. That's why some critics weren't totally convinced by the explanation about needing more space for horses. The first property already cost around $20 million, so people online joke that something like land space would probably be checked before buying a place like that. Because of that, a few observers suspected the quick renovation and resale might have been part of the plan from the very beginning. The project also stirred up tension with some locals. Reports suggested nearby residents and even local officials were frustrated about how quickly the renovation moved forward and whether all the proper approvals had been handled correctly. There were also concerns raised about potential historical remains in the area, since parts of that region have archaeological significance dating back to Roman times.
On top of that, some villagers worried about a large wire fence installed around the property. They feared it could affect natural drainage in the area and possibly increase flooding risks nearby.
You gonna be early for my party?
Yes, I am. No.
No.
You know I have to arrive fashionably late.
All right, not too late though.
Not too late?
Not too late,
What
please.
time would you like me there?
I'll tell you later.
Okay,
But not
okay.
too late, because you know, once you get there, the party really starts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Then, in a twist that people online couldn't stop talking about, the region later experienced heavy flooding while the farmhouse was still on the market. Images showed the property surrounded by murky floodwater, creating a scene that looked almost unbelievable. And when people online saw those flood images, many couldn't help but call it ironic. The situation quickly turned into one of those moments where critics started throwing around the word karma, saying the whole thing looked like nature had its own sense of timing. Now, going back to something I mentioned earlier, there have also been plenty of rumors floating around online connecting Ellen to certain high-profile controversies involving private islands and powerful elites. But it's important to point out that so far, her name has not been explicitly listed in any of the official documents that have been released. So when you step back and look at the entire timeline, it's easy to see why people are still debating Ellen's story today. In just a few short years, she went from being one of the most beloved faces on daytime television to a celebrity surrounded by controversy, criticism, and non-stop internet speculation.
Ellen, were you surprised by the allegations about P. Diddy? Did that surprise you about P. Diddy? He's been on your show many times.
Have a good night.
Have you been to his parties?
First came the workplace stories that cracked the Be Kind image. Then came the stand-up special that many viewers felt only made things worse instead of fixing the damage. After that, the sudden move across the ocean, the luxury real estate flicks, and the quick return back to America only added more fuel to the conversation. Whether you see it as bad timing, celebrity drama, or just the complicated reality of Hollywood fame, one thing is clear. Ellen's public image has changed in a huge way, and people are still watching every move she makes. And the wild part is that Ellen's story shows just how fast things can flip in Hollywood.
Beautiful woman up there. That's your mother, isn't it, huh?
Yeah, look at her.
Hello.
Yeah, she's available if you're interested. I'd like to offer her.
One minute, you're the untouchable daytime queen with millions of fans, massive brand deals, and a reputation built around kindness. The next minute, the internet starts digging, former insiders start speaking out, and suddenly that polished image begins cracking right in front of everyone. That's the reality of modern celebrity culture. Once the public starts questioning the narrative, every move gets analyzed, from friendships to business deals to sudden moves across the world. And in Ellen's case, every headline seemed to stack on top of the last one, turning what used to be a feel-good daytime empire into one of the most talked-about celebrity downfalls in recent TV history. And even now, the conversation around Ellen hasn't really disappeared. People online still debate whether her reputation took a bigger hit than it deserved, or if the backlash was simply the result of years of stories finally reaching the public all at once.
It's none of my business what somebody's. Now, when somebody makes it my business, like on gay marriage, I'm going to stand up and say I don't support gay marriage. In my state of Texas, if we tried to have gay marriage, I would campaign against it.
What makes the situation even more fascinating is how quickly public perception shifted. For decades, she was promoted as one of the most positive and welcoming personalities on television. But once that image started cracking, every past moment, every celebrity friendship, and every business move suddenly got looked at under a microscope. That's the strange reality of fame today. Building a powerful image can take decades, but losing public trust can happen almost overnight. So at the end of the day, Ellen's story is one of those wild Hollywood turnarounds that people are going to keep talking about for a long time. She went from being the smiling face of daytime TV, dancing with audiences and telling everyone to be kind to one another, to becoming the center of a huge debate about celebrity culture, power behind the scenes, and how quickly public opinion can change. Between the workplace controversy, the stand-up comeback that didn't land the way she hoped, the sudden move to England, and the luxury real estate drama, the whole saga has felt like one long headline after another. And the truth is, people are still watching to see what happens next. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the whole Ellen situation.